Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Monday video report. You can see the free pick run right above. Of course, 7-1 the past 4 days alone. In-depth preview and free pick coming up on Syracuse and Villanova at 7 o'clock Eastern Time in Philly in just a moment. Just a couple of quick observations. Was watching the Ohio State-Purdue game yesterday. You know, this was a game where Ohio State took the early lead. Purdue then took a 4-point lead at the half, and then they started taking control of the game early in the second half. But you know, the thing that struck me in that game, actually a couple of things. First of all, if Robbie Hummel was available and didn't suffer the knee injury during the off-season, who knows how good Purdue would be. But you saw this series this year between the Boilermakers and Ohio State. Ohio State rolling to the double-digit rout at home in Columbus and then losing by 13 points ultimately yesterday, 76-63. But the bottom line is, neither one of these teams have shown that they can consistently win on the road, just like Wisconsin as well in the Big Ten. And that's the problem with most of your college basketball powers so far this season. I mean, I'm telling you, you play that game yesterday on a neutral court, either team could win. You play it back in Columbus and Ohio State, there's no doubt in my mind the Buckeyes win that game. You saw yesterday where Purdue, once they started to open up the lead, they got up by 10. Ohio State, despite shooting miserably in that contest and committing one turnover and another, still was able to narrow the margin down to 5. Then it was down to a 7-point margin, and it stayed at least 7 with Purdue in the lead. And for the final 10 minutes of the contest, Boilermakers could never put the Buckeyes away, but you saw where Ohio State's youth and inexperience really worked against them yesterday. But again, Ohio State, Purdue, Wisconsin, I don't care which one of those teams. It all depends on who has the home court advantage. And I'm looking at these teams, and they are flawed. All of them are flawed, and that will ultimately, I think, hurt them come the big dance. But look overall at the top teams right now in the polls. Okay, Duke back now is number 1. Duke, a flawed team. Certainly, especially in the backcourt. Kansas, a flawed team in the backcourt as well. And sometimes you wonder about the Jayhawks' intensity level from day to day, game to game. How about Ohio State? We just talked about them. Texas, of course, everybody getting off the Longhorns bandwagon after they lost that game to Nebraska. But my God, the Cornhuskers had only lost one home game this season. That was against Kansas. I mean, they were laying in wait. The Longhorns walked right into the ambush. And yet, you know what? Between those 4 teams, Ohio State, Kansas, Texas, and Duke, you give me a neutral court situation in the Big Dance, and right now, my money would be on the Texas Longhorns because they have the inside-out game. They're the more athletic team, very good point guard play. I'm telling you, I think Texas is the best of that bunch. Then you've got the second-tier teams, San Diego State, BYU. Can't wait to see that rematch on Wednesday night. That, God, I wonder what the line's going to be in that particular game. Anyway, some interesting games coming up here. And it's college basketball. Hey, look, we are winding down. Most of the smaller mid-major conferences like the Colonial, the Missouri Valley, the Horizon League. This is it, guys. You're talking about the final 2-3 games of the regular season. The Big Dance is just around the corner, as well as all the various conference tournaments. Now, as far as your free pick tonight, I'm going to go with Villanova, minus the 4 points at home against Syracuse. Now, Nova won at the Carrier Dome 83-72 when these two met about a month ago in that contest. Villanova cashed in with 11 three-pointers in that game. One of the keys in that contest was Corey Stokes. He is Villanova's second leading scorer, averaging about 14 points a game. He had 16 points in that contest, hit 4 of those 11 three-pointers. Now, he has missed the last 3 games for Villanova with a turf toe injury, and the Wildcats have certainly struggled. But, here's the thing with injuries. You've always got to be on top of them. Overnight reports from Associated Press, etc., had him expected to missing the game. Well, obviously, the Associated Press reports didn't read the Philadelphia Inquirer reports yesterday on Sunday, which said there was a chance he might come back. And, of course, now, at this moment, as I'm doing this report for you about noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern, a lot of services and line services have Stokes as questionable for the game. However, the fact is, if you do your research, you'll see that Stokes is now expected to start this contest this evening. Is he going to be the difference maker? Well, he certainly isn't going to hurt, because look, Villanova is 4-4 straight up in its last 8 games, 1-7 against the spread. And, look at what the Wildcats have done here lately. They needed overtime to get by DePaul 77-75 on the road on Saturday. Before that, they lost to Seton Hall 60-57, lost by 3 points at home to Pittsburgh last week. But, the Panthers really dominated that game, and the final score wasn't indicative of how easy it was for Pittsburgh. Then Villanova, before that, blew a double-digit lead in the final 4 minutes of play and lost at Rutgers 77-76. So, is Villanova overpriced at 4 points tonight? I don't think so, because bottom line, guys, is the Orange Men aren't anything special here of late either. They have lost 6 of their last 10 games. They've lost on the road to Louisville, Marquette, and Pittsburgh. They lost at home to Seton Hall. They barely got by Rutgers 84-80 in overtime on Saturday. Villanova's won 4 of the last 5 games in this series, so I will go ahead and take them in this contest tonight and lay the points. Even though Syracuse has revenge on its side, I think the rematch goes to the Wildcats. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on Tuesday.